review Belle Collective, Season 7, Episode 13. So the episode starts off where we left off with Letitia upset about Selena telling her about Glenn telling Mike that he went to see a divorce lawyer. So she's outside in the car, flustered and upset. She calls him. And of course, as usual, Glendale is just all n- nonchalant. He's like, yeah, I went to see it. Yeah. And she said, well, for what? And he said, well, I wanted to get some more understanding about the post nup that we had talked about. And she said, well, you don't think you should have told me that? And he was like, I mean, we had already discussed it. I don't see, I just wanted some, understanding. So that's what that was all about. Now, I do agree with her. He should have told her that instead of going out and tell Mike, but we know Glendale is just a mess. So, and I do agree that Selena should have told her, but that was production. Selena felt, you could see how uncomfortable she was bringing it up to Latrice and Tamron. But, that's the way it go. But do I think it's the same thing as when the rumors were going around about Selena's fiance and uh, Latricia not telling her? Yes, it is. It's the same thing. If your friends, real friends, you should tell that person, pull them aside and tell them, before you talk to the friend group. So next up, we see Marie. Marie is having a date from last week's mixer where they found her a date, and she's over at Latrice's at Taste, at the restaurant Taste. So I mean, nice looking man, nice looking man. And so, she walked in, Marie fiery. So she's sitting there and he said, oh, you look nice. And then he said, I like your makeup. And she was like, well, I want to make it clear, I don't need makeup. I have beautiful skin. Beautiful skin. She said that like 3 times, like she was offended. Um, so then they have a little conversation. Then, child, homeboy said he sang. Okay, so that man said, "This is my moment. I'm fixing to audition on this here TV. I may not never get on TV again." So he starts singing to her, y'all. Starts serenading her, and not just a little snippet. He did a good 16 count. He sound decent. He didn't sound bad. I ain't gonna even lie. He didn't sound bad. He sounded like a blues singer. Like somebody from Mississippi, like a blues singer. So she thought that was kind of cute, but she said that her ex had already serenaded her, and they showed a flashback. She said she was kind of, looking for something different. So when he was singing, Latrice was over there in that corner cackling. She was crying. She was cackling. She was crying, laughing, because it was funny. Everybody in the restaurant was like turning around, looking like, because the restaurant was full. So he asked her, what does she think about, their date? And she said, well, I'm enjoying it. Would take, a little bit more for me to see, we have any chemistry or whatever. But I am dating right now, so she pretty much didn't commit to anything, which is smart. She don't have to. They had, seem to have a nice little time, but if she that ain't what she wants, she can just move on. Go on, Marie. Um, so then we go to Carrie. Carrie's mother is at her and her mom is at the house, and Carrie's uh Carrie's mother-in-law is coming over to the house. And so she because she said she wanted to talk to Carrie. So Carrie called her mom to come over at the same time, because she said she know how Matt Mama is, and she said she knows she coming over for some mess. And so she gets there, and she was right. And I was really trying to, be nice to the lady and don't say nothing about it. I really love her hair. Her hair is fierce. Her hair is beautiful. That's mine. But she came over there tripping, and after what I saw the preview of next week, where she said that he needs to tame her. I'm like, lady, what are you talking about? But Carrie talks to Matt about it late after, later after everything, and they had all left and stuff. And she tells him how frustrated she is because the lady keeps saying, "Well, you need to be home, and you need to spend time with your kids." And Carrie was like, "I have three businesses, and your husband is happy. We've been together for a long time, and look at all that we have built together." And she said, "Well, I just don't think you spend enough time with the kids." Lady, is that your business? No, it's not. So Carrie told her, "Well, if you feel that way, you need to get in your car and come over here and help sometime." So she was talking to Matt alone, she was telling Matt how the lady, was talking to her and stuff. And he said, "Well, has she been drinking?" He said, "It sounded like she had been drinking." He said, "Y'all shouldn't have gave her no alcohol." So Carrie said she came over here with it, and she did have looked like she had a daiquiri. It was something in a cup. Looked like she had a daiquiri with her. And so when Matt said that, I said, "Okay, that's what it is. The lady, she be drinking, and he know it. He know that she be drinking, and she probably when she drinking, she say some off the wall stuff." So Carrie just need to just ignore that lady. And when she says she want to come over and vent or talk to her about something, tell her she busy. That's all, because that man, I like Matt. Matt looked like he happy. Now he did tell Carrie that he did want her to slow down some, and he also wants her to get rid of that business that's not doing well. And I don't know why she haven't. Well, I understand why she's having such a hard time letting that go, because she feels like it's a failure, But sometimes that's what being an entrepreneur and a business person is. You win some, you lose some. She got three restaurants, one of them not doing well. Be thankful for the two and just liquidate that one and move on, maybe do something else. But I think she gonna have to do that, because Matt had talked to her in the episode before, and he was saying that it was causing a I don't want to use the word burden, but it was kind of causing a burden on him, because that restaurant is losing money, so he's having to cover that. So that's the only thing they need to focus on. But as for Matt, Mama, ma'am, talk to the head. You're not going, you giving me Tisha Mama vibes from Loving Marriage Huntsville. You in here causing trouble and unnecessary trouble, and we don't like that. So next um, we see uh, Latrice's husband Cliff meet up with Latrice's mom. They have lunch together, and she said when he said, "Now, um, me and Latrice's mom, we cool, but we don't really talk a lot." So when she said she wanted to have lunch, I knew it was, had to be something important she wanted to talk to me about. So what she wants to talk to him about was that Latrice is needs to have surgery for her fibroids, and she still hasn't scheduled it. And she was telling him that Latrice needs to, she needs to go on and take care of that. And he said, I've already told her that. I talked to her about that. He said, "But your daughter hard headed." And she said, "Yes, she is." He said, "I told her she was going to handle that, and we'll take care of the business and stuff." He ain't actually say that when him and Latrice met, but anyway, you know, Cliff is old school. So I mean, Latrice, girl, you knew what you was getting. All ready to tear Cliff up. I was ready to tear him up to shreds. But Cliff explained that Latrice, when they got married, Latrice told him she didn't want no kids. And he said, if she would have had kids, a child 10 years ago, he said, "I'm 56 now." And he look every bit of 60. He showed, do, especially sitting there with him, with her mama. I didn't realize how much older he looked. Cause sitting there with her mama, I said, okay, he looked like, yeah, he looked like around her age or older. Because sometimes when he with Latrice, I ain't saying he look her age, but when he, spruced up, got his hair cut, and nice suit on, he don't look quite as old. But baby, when he was at that lunch, he looked every bit 60. Hmm. So he said he done raised his kids, and if she wanted kids, she should have had them 10 years ago. He like, I'm not. This is the time where I'm supposed to be traveling and enjoying life. I ain't trying to be changing no diapers and all of that. So the mama said, "Well, I would retire, and I would help." He said, "I don't believe that because you were supposed to retire before and you didn't." And she said, "But she wants a child, and she's really adamant about that." And he said, and Deepa looked at her and said, "And so and next up we see Latrice, Tamarind, and Marie, and they meet up for a little get together lunch." And so they talk about a couple of things. They talk about Latrice brings up about the party, and um, she asked Marie how Latricia was doing about finding out that Glendale had went to the divorce lawyer. And Marie said, yeah, she was upset. And Marie tried to steer it back over to, she said she was also upset that Selena talked to you guys before she talked to her husband. Here go Latrice. Well, she needs to be upset with Glendale because he the one that went to the divorce lawyer. Yeah, we understand that, but you still letting Selena off the hook. She shouldn't have talked to y'all before she told her. So of course they're gonna take up for Selena. And then Latrice tells them that, they asked about her fibroid surgery, and she said that she was going to have it scheduled in a couple of weeks. So she said, after that, I want to focus on having a baby. And they both looked at her like, what? What? Because evidently she had been always said to the girls and to Glendale, I mean, and to Cliff, that she didn't want to have kids. And so they were both shocked. Maria's like, what, baby? And so she told Tamara, Latrice told Tamara she wants to babysit her little girl, and she was like, Tamara was like, I don't know about that. I ain't never seen you with no kids. I don't know about that. So Tamara was telling her, yeah, I get what you're saying that now you want to have kids, that you changed your mind. She said, because, when I was younger, I always, wanted my career. And that seems to be what Latrice was doing. She was focusing on building her businesses and her career and stuff. And at that time, she didn't want kids. But he um she didn't want kids at that time. So but things have changed and now she do. So Tamara was like, sometimes we be waiting for stuff to be perfect, and instead of just, nothing's ever gonna be perfect. So there's never a perfect time. And so it was funny because, and then Marie was like in a confessional. Marie said she need to take care of her health. She needs to make sure she get them fibroids taken care of and the blood clots before she talk about having a baby. And so, but Latrice like, I want all everybody in the Bells to be a godmother. And then it was cute in that professional because she talking about she gonna Google talking about, can a toddler go in the hot tub? And then she read the answer. She's like, oh, like girl, you ain't ready for that. That was cute. So then we get back to um the final scene, and we see um Latrice and Cliff are at their property, and they're out by the water by the lake on their property, and they start talking about, she tells him, a little bit of the gossip that's been going on with the group, and she tells him about Lindell going to the divorce lawyer, and he said, "Wait, she went to the divorce lawyer or Glenn?" She said, "No, Glendale went." She said he talked to Mike about that. She said, "I guess he would normally talk to you, but since y'all, we not really all together as a group, I guess he talked to Mike about it." So then they start talking about having children again. And she tells him that she wants to have a baby. And he like, listen, I'm 56 years old. I'm not rich. You should have had a baby 10 years ago. Y'all, Cliff, he don't seem like he budging. He really don't seem like he's like he's serious. And she said, well, what you gonna do about it? I mean, if I have a baby, he said, well, I'm gonna have to have a little surgery. And so Latrice said, see, this is the second time you done mentioned having a vasectomy. You gonna be right with Glendale at the divorce attorney. Y'all need to hold hands when y'all go. And he said, well, you can't divorce nobody for that, for not wanting to have a child. She said, wait and see. I bet you can. So she's explaining to him that, She knows what she said before that she didn't want to have a child, but she really wants to have a baby right now. And he not having it. He said, he keeps saying I'm 56, I'm too old. I don't want to change no diapers. And she said, well, my mom said she talked to you about it. He said, yes, she did. He said, but I'm still not, still don't want to have no, I don't want to have a baby. And so she gets upset. She's like, well, you know what? Since you're not listening to me, just, she cursed him out a little bit. And then she got it when she walking away, she said, I always get what I want. I'm gonna get a baby one way or another. I'm like the trees girl, which that's not, I don't know what they're gonna do, but I mean, I don't think that's a good idea for you to just have the baby anyway. I don't know what y'all need to do. I don't know. This is I wanted to take Latrice's side because I understand she wants to have a baby, but you told that man you ain't want to have kids. So I know people change their mind, and you also knew that Cliff was older than you. And I'm not gonna be mad at that man for being 56 and saying he don't want to. He said he had already had kids, he didn't already raised his kids. I don't know. There's so many different ways you could look at it. She doesn't have any children, Cliff. I mean, do I think it's selfish of him? Not totally, because I understand, but I also understand where she's coming from. So I don't know what the happy medium is with them. Hopefully, maybe he'll come out. I think he gonna just come around. I mean, he gonna come around. What else he gonna do? He gonna come around. You know, and hopefully she'll be back. Hopefully she needs to schedule that fibroid surgery and get that taken care of. I'm like, Marie, girl, you need to take care of your health. Because that's important. And blood clots is nothing to play with. She So that was the episode. I give this episode about I give it about a B. It was pretty good. So I will see you guys next week. Thank you all so much for listening to my review. And I am out.